Alright, welcome back again to another Borderlands 4 video. Once again, we are back on Rafa, and after the patch, this is a build that I've decided to kind of create and modify from other builds to kind of go into the new updated skills. Now, this build, you can use it for mobbing, but it's going to be mainly for destroying bosses, and it's going to be played completely different to the way that you've been playing Rafa. As you guys can see in the gameplay right now, it's melting bosses with grenades, and that's what we're going to be doing, mainly using our grenades for both mobbing and also bossing. So it's kind of like a gimmicky build. It's really fun, and yeah, like I said, it destroys bosses. So hopefully you guys do enjoy to play something a little bit different on Rafa. If you guys do enjoy this video, please consider dropping a like down below, and remember to subscribe for more builds and guides for Borderlands 4. Alright, so a quick showcase on how this build actually works and the buttons that we need to press and the steps of using it. So first off, I'm going to do it on probably the hardest boss on the game, so hopefully it goes well. So we're going to use our ult and then use our Repkit and then just dodge this guy right here. So our F key is going to throw down a turret that's also going to be throwing grenades out that we are going to be using. So you basically just melt the boss with the grenades and he is dead right there. So that's basically it. So we use our ult, then press the F button for our ult again. You're going to spawn this portable supply depot turret that's going to be shooting grenades, and you can spam grenades and those will double up, and the boss will just instantly die. And that's basically it. Also want to make sure that you have a weapon out with the correct elements for that boss. As you do radiation, but you can use shock, you can fire, and yeah, there you go. That's pretty much it. Alright, so let's start off with our skill tree. Now, obviously, because I'm still playing around with this build, there's still things that can be changed, but right now, as you guys can see in the gameplay, it absolutely destroys everything. So obviously, Peacebreaker cannons. I am going to be making another build very soon. Well, we're going to be going into the arc knives a little bit, but we'll leave that for another time. We're going to put 5 points into Satyr. Rafa gains increased gun damage, but with the specializations, that's also going to give us more damage on our grenade. Then we're going to go 5 points into Huelga, and then 3 points into field repairs. Also, you can put 3 points instead of field repairs also into CYA, but that's up to you if you are going to be mainly going on to mobbing as well. But I went into field repairs, and then we're going to put 3 points into El Velante. The reason why I went into field repairs is because this also, once our action skill is used, which is we're going to do that before the boss, we're going to get increased shields, and that's going to work very well with El Velante because we're going to get increased damage when our maximum capacity is at max, and it's going to double the bonus. And then we're going to put 5 points into confetti. I have 10. That's just because of the gear that I'm using, and we'll get into that very soon. And now we can go ahead and move on to the green skill tree, the arc skills. And then here we're going to put 5 points into handshake deal. And then we're going to go down here into diamond hands. We're going to put 5 points into there. And then we're going to go down again, hard sell, 5 points into here. And then artilleria, we're going to put 5 points into there. And then booming business, we're going to go ahead and put 5 points into there, and then finish off the rest of the points into Synergia. And that basically takes us to the end of our skill tree. It all kind of combines together to give us as much cooldown rate on our grenades and as much damage as possible with our grenade and abilities as well. So that is why we kind of went for these skills. You can also change things if you feel like other things can be better. But so far from what I've seen in the gameplay that you're watching right now, it's just kind of worked out really well with the build that I'm trying to kind of make, I guess. So if you guys think there should be points somewhere else or maybe a skill that would work better, let me know down in the comments, and then we'll put that to the test as well. Moving over to our specializations, what we're going to do here is very simple. We're going to go into the best defense. We're also going to go ahead and put full spectrum arsenal, and then we're going to go to fragmentation payload, and then we're going to finish it off with bare arms. The reason why we're going to go into full spectrum arsenal is the reason why we went into our skills and put gun damage is because ordnance damage now benefits from the increase to gun damage. So the more gun damage that you have on your gear and your skills, this is going to work well because you're just going to get more damage from your ordnance. Bare arms is going to work very well as well because melee damage and also gun damage here is going to be increased, which means both of them also benefit our ordnance damage. So we're just basically going to be stacking up our damage. And then lastly, we're going to go with the best defense just because the more maximum capacity of our shield and our health and everything like that, again, we're going to be dealing more damage, which is kind of works out well for this build because we're not going to really be getting into the fight. The boss is going to die instantly because of the damage stack that we're going to have. For your weapons, it doesn't really matter what weapon that you are using because we're not going to be really using our weapons. Mainly, we're only going to be using them for their elemental types. So I highly recommend having incendiary, shock, I have cryo here as well as corrosive. You can have kinetic as well, which is also very, very good. The reason why is that because our grenade is gonna copy exactly what weapon that we have in hand. So if we have a fire weapon in our hand when killing a boss, that grenade is gonna deal fire damage. So if you're gonna be against a boss that needs fire damage to really take them out very quickly, go ahead and put a fire weapon on while throwing the grenades, because you're just gonna absolutely melt them. So you can also use your weapons. Kinetic damage weapons are probably the best way to go if you're going to be mobbing. So obviously Hot Slugger, its special perk is going to increase that damage by 90% after 3 kills, which is absolutely insane, especially on the higher tiers. So your weapons don't matter, elementals do. Always have a stack of different elemental in each slot. Moving over to our Repkit. Now I'm using the Augmenter AF1000 with time dilation and hard hitter. Now time dilation isn't really necessary for bosses because you're basically going to be insta killing them. Now that works very well with hard hitter because on use grants an increase in melee damage. Obviously melee damage is also going to work with our grenade damage up to 40% for 20 seconds, giving us a increase in damage for a longer period of time because of this specific Repkit. Now, if you are struggling with your grenade cooldown, if you're not killing boss quick enough, or in general, if you're going to be mobbing as well, you can also consider this perk right here. It doesn't have to be this specific Repkit. You can use a legendary or a epic, but with Go gadgets, because on use grants an increase in ordnance cooldown by 50% for 20 seconds, meaning you're also going to be getting your grenades back even quicker if you are going to be using this to mob, or just you want to add clear or just have fun killing, drill sites. That's also a very good way of using your ordinances is with Go gadgets. Next up is our grenade of this build, Atomic Slippy. Now this is gonna absolutely wreck these bosses. Swordfish deals melee damage on detonation. Melee damage is also increased for our grenade, which is why we want this one. And then we do have nuke on this. Grenade damage is increased by 31%. Grenade damage radius is increased by 62%, and grenade cooldown duration is increased by 25%. So it's gonna be an absolute nuke, as it says right there. Obviously, this is also going to be taking our damage from the weapon, so you're basically going to be melting absolutely everything. This is going to be the main point of this build, so you might want to go ahead and get this. Next up is our class mod. Now there's a few ways of actually going about this, but there's one specific thing that we need to make sure we have. Now, if we do go ahead and inspect this one, I have 5 points into confetti. You kind of want to make sure that you have points into confetti in your class mod. This one has skill damage and also gun damage, which is going to be absolutely great because gun damage is going to increase our grenade damage of our specializations. Now, there's also different types of class mods that you can get with this one. This one has 4 points into confetti right here, but it has action, skill, duration, and gun damage. But you want to make sure you do have points into confetti. The reason why, if you do go into our skills, confetti right here, Rafa's ordnance deals bonus damage in his current gun's elements. So we're going to get even more damage in our elements against those bosses. So I have 10 points into there because we put 5 and then 5 from our class mod. So there you go. You want to make sure you have this one. And overall, it's just a great class mod for your grenades. Moving over to our shields, I'm using What's for Dinner right here because of Overshielder Eater. When energy shield is active, enemies have a 12% chance to drop an overshield when hit. When overshield is also active, grants 25% shock damage, which again is going to melt basically everything because in the higher levels, everything basically has a shield. So you want that shock damage to basically just one-shot everything. Also combining that with Amp, when energy shields are full, shots drain 20% of those shields for 100% gun damage. Again, gun damage is also going to go into our grenade, so we're going to be getting a bunch more damage output that way. And lastly, for our enhancements, this one is basically the least of our problem. Doesn't really matter what you have here, you can use whatever that you like, but you also want to make sure you do have that gun damage or your skill damage or skill duration. So anything like that is basically what you want to be looking for. I just have a gun damage is increased by 25%, but there's probably a lot better ones that we can use. So go ahead and make your choice there, but you want to make sure you have some sort of damage increase buff on your enhancements. And that pretty much it takes us to the end of this build. For mobbing, you basically do the exact same. Use your ult, use it again to put that turret down, and just go around with your Hot Slugger or whatever weapon that you want to use. I recommend the Hot Slugger just because it's really powerful against mobs. You can change your shield to fireworks if you really wanted to, and just keep throwing those grenades everywhere, and you basically just one-shot everything. Hope you guys enjoy something a little bit different on Rafa. It's a little bit different gameplay that you're going to be not so used to on this game. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you all on the next one.